Your mind is the battlefield. Win there and you win everywhere. This is not just a motivational line. It's the reality that defines champions, leaders, visionaries, and world changers. Everything you want, everything you fear, everything holding you back, it all begins and ends in your mind. Before any limit exists out in the world, it first exists in your thinking. Most people are imprisoned not by walls or circumstances, but by the chains they've accepted in their thoughts. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world through the lens of your beliefs. So if your beliefs are wired for fear, scarcity, and doubt, your entire life becomes a reflection of that programming. When you wake up in the morning, before your feet even hit the floor, your mind has already started writing the script of your day. And if that script is negative, if it's filled with self-doubt, hesitation, anxiety, and excuses, you've already lost before the game has even begun. That's the power of the battlefield in your mind. But here's the flip side. If you choose to rewire that script, if you choose to dominate your thoughts, to own your narrative, then your external world starts to follow suit. Winners don't just act different, they think different. They don't see setbacks as walls, they see them as opportunities to rise. They don't fear rejection because they've trained their mind to believe that rejection is just redirection. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's built in the dark when no one is clapping. It's forged through repetition, through discipline, through the choice to keep pushing even when your mind is screaming at you to quit. The mind is always looking for the path of least resistance, the easy road, the way out. But when you recognize that and override it, when you say no, not today, you strengthen the muscle of your mindset. And over time, that muscle becomes unbreakable. Every champion, every leader, every person you admire, they all had to fight this war in their minds. They had to destroy the voice that whispered, "You're not enough," and replace it with a roar that said, "Watch me." They had to silence the fear of failure and replace it with the obsession to grow. The mind will either be your servant or your master. And if you let it run wild, it will sabotage everything. It will talk you out of opportunities, relationships, goals. It'll even talk you out of your own identity. But if you train it, if you own it, if you discipline it daily, it becomes the most powerful weapon you have. Now understand this. You don't get to control everything that happens around you. Life is chaotic, unpredictable, and sometimes brutal, but you do get to control how you respond. And that response is shaped in the gym of your mind. When adversity hits, and it will hit, you're not going to rise to the level of your ambition. You're going to fall to the strength of your mindset. So if that foundation is weak, if it's full of leaks and doubts and fears, you're going to crumble. But if it's solid, if it's built on courage, resilience, and vision, you'll stand up when others fold. That's why this battlefield matters, because you can have all the talent in the world, all the education, all the connections, but if your mind isn't aligned with your vision, none of it will matter. The mind can turn a millionaire into a bankrupt, a warrior into a coward, a visionary into a quitter. And on the flip side, it can turn the underdog into a legend, the outsider into a leader, the doubted into the dominant. The mind is the difference maker. Not the economy, not your past, not your circumstances, just the mind. And here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Most people lose this battle daily. They get hit with fear and fold. They get criticized and retreat. They feel pain and quit. They've let their mind become a playground for every voice that told them they couldn't. But you're done with that. You're here because you're ready to fight back. You're ready to flip the script and take your power back. You're ready to become the master of the only battlefield that ever mattered. And when you win there, when you conquer that space between your ears, everything else falls into place. Doubt is fuel. Burn it and become unstoppable. Every time someone looks at you and questions your ability, that's not a setback, that's a spark. That's a challenge. That's firewood for the furnace of your greatness. Because the people who doubt you are just handing you energy. They're giving you something priceless. Proof that you're doing something worth paying attention to. Doubt isn't your enemy, it's your ally in disguise. It shows you where the friction is. It shows you where the growth lives. If nobody's doubting you, you're not dreaming big enough. You're not risking and you're not stepping far enough outside of the comfort zone. Let's be clear. Doubt will come from other people, yes, but more dangerously from within. That little whisper, what if I'm not ready? What if I fail? What if they're right about me? That voice lives in all of us, but champions don't try to silence it. They listen, they nod, and then they step forward anyway. They use that doubt, as pressure, as intensity. The fire doesn't die down because of the doubt, it explodes. Because every time someone says you can't, it's an invitation to prove that you can. That's the mindset, not to avoid doubt, to hunt it, to thrive in it. And let's not sugarcoat it, people will count you out. You'll be underestimated, overlooked, and dismissed. Especially when you're starting out, especially when your dreams don't look like anything anyone's ever seen before. That's part of the path. But what they don't realize is that by doubting you, they're sharpening you. They're refining your hunger. They're shaping a version of you that can't be stopped. Because when you learn to feed off of doubt, when you metabolize it into hunger, clarity, and drive, there is no force on earth that can stop your momentum. Most people crumble when they're doubted. They shrink, they back off, they play it safe. But you're not here to play small. You're here to turn every ounce of doubt into rocket fuel, into resilience, into relentless pursuit. Because nothing wakes up your potential like being told you don't have any. Nothing unlocks your greatness like the sound of laughter behind your back. Doubters don't define you, they ignite you. They expose how bad you want it. And the truth is, the bigger your vision, the louder the doubt. Good, that means you're on the right path. That means you're climbing a hill worth reaching the top of. That means you're becoming the person who will look back and thank the doubters for giving you exactly what you needed to destroy every limit. Destroy your excuses before they destroy your potential. This is the hard truth. Excuses are the silent killers of dreams. They creep into your life disguised as valid reasons or justifications for why you can't take action, why you can't push past the barriers in front of you. But make no mistake, excuses are the lies you tell yourself to stay comfortable, to avoid the pain of growth, to stay within the safe confines of mediocrity. And every time you let them slip by, you're trading your future for the temporary relief of staying exactly where you are. Excuses rob you of your power. They rob you of the belief that you can make it through. They steal the energy you could be pouring into your vision, your mission, your goals. We all have them. Life throws challenges at us, some bigger, some smaller. But when you look at these obstacles through the lens of an excuse, you become a victim of your circumstances. You start saying things like, I'm too young, I'm too old, I don't have the right connections, the economy is bad, I wasn't born with the right talent. And with every excuse, you reinforce the belief that there's something outside of you that holds the key to your success. But the reality is this: the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the story you're telling yourself. And that story, more often than not, is full of excuses. The moment you stop accepting excuses is the moment your potential starts to explode. And the key here is understanding that excuses are rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of taking that first step into the unknown. But here's something that successful people understand at their core. Fear is not a signal to stop, it's a signal to go. If you're afraid, that's a sign that you're on the right path. Because comfort doesn't demand growth, discomfort does. And excuses keep you comfortable. They keep you stuck in a loop of indecision and stagnation. But when you choose to eradicate excuses from your life, you create a space where growth is inevitable. You take back the narrative. You say to yourself, no more. No more reasons why I can't. I will. I am. Destroying excuses doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is perfect or that obstacles don't exist. It means facing reality head on and deciding that, despite the circumstances, you're going to find a way. It's about making a commitment to yourself that you will not let any excuse stop you from reaching your full potential. This is where true power lies, not in the absence of challenges, but in the courage to rise above them, to push through them, and to make progress regardless of how big the mountains seem. Excuses disguise themselves in many forms. Some of them appear as valid concerns, time, money, resources, support. But what successful people have mastered is the art of turning those same concerns into fuel for action. Time, they create it. Money, they find ways to attract it. Resources, they use what they have and make the most of it. Support, they build their own community of like-minded individuals who will push them to go further. Excuses only remain when you give them power, when you don't confront them, when you don't challenge them. The moment you destroy them, you take back control of your life. And let's not forget, the consequences of letting excuses run rampant are steep. Excuses keep you stuck in a cycle of procrastination. They prevent you from taking the first step, from making the first move. And over time, that adds up. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years, and before you know it, the life you wanted is slipping further away. You look back and realize that all those small excuses you let slide by have accumulated into a massive wall of regret. You can't afford that. Your future can't afford that. Your purpose can't afford that. So the time to act is now. The time to break free from the grip of excuses is right in this moment. Don't wait another second. You don't need permission to be powerful. This is one of the most liberating truths you will ever encounter. There's no external validation required for you to rise up, to make your mark, to step into your greatness. The world doesn't need to recognize your worth for you to see it in yourself. So why wait for someone to tell you that you're ready? Why wait for approval from others, whether that be your family, your boss, your friends, or even society as a whole? The truth is they may never see it. And if you wait for someone else's approval, you'll spend your entire life in a holding pattern, waiting for a green light that may never come. The only permission you need is the one you give yourself. It starts with the decision to step into your own power, to own your story, to believe in your ability to create the life you desire. Too many people are walking around waiting for permission to be great, waiting for the perfect moment to take action. But greatness doesn't wait. It doesn't wait for approval. It doesn't wait for the stars to align. It rises when you decide to rise. It begins the moment you stop looking for others to tell you that you're worthy, and instead you decide to believe it for yourself. If you're waiting for someone to tell you that you can do it, you'll always be waiting. But if you decide to give yourself permission to go after your dreams with everything you have, you'll never look back. No one gets to decide your value, your potential, your future except you. Don't allow anyone else to dictate the timeline of your life. Don't wait for someone else to tell you that you've earned the right to dream big, to go after what you want, to push past the limits that others have set for you. You are the creator of your own destiny. And when you realize that, when you take ownership of your power, you begin to see that you are the only one holding yourself back. This is a decision, a commitment that you make to yourself. A commitment to stop waiting for external validation and to start validating yourself, to stop needing permission from others and to start granting it to yourself. When you give yourself permission to step into your full power, you free yourself from the shackles of doubt, fear, and insecurity. You allow yourself to take action without hesitation, without second guessing, and without the need for outside approval. You become unstoppable. You start to show up for yourself in ways you never thought possible. And in that process, you become the person you were always meant to be. The world doesn't decide when you are powerful. You decide. You decide when it's time to act, when it's time to rise, and when it's time to break free from the constraints that others have placed on you. Your potential doesn't require permission. It just requires action. And when you start acting, when you start making moves towards the life you want, you'll find that the permission you sought from others was never really necessary at all. Limits exist only where belief ends. This powerful truth highlights the immense influence that your belief system has on every aspect of your life. When you believe something is possible, when you truly believe you have the capability to achieve it, those limits begin to fade. The moment your belief in yourself and your potential expands, the walls you once thought were unbreakable start to crumble. Your potential becomes boundless because belief shapes your reality. If you believe you're limited by your circumstances, your upbringing, or your resources, you will only see obstacles. But if you can stretch your belief to include the impossible, you'll unlock doors you never thought were even there. Think about every breakthrough, every great achievement, every massive success you've seen. What is the common thread? It's belief. Those who defy the odds are often those who saw beyond their limitations, who decided that limits were not their reality. We've all heard stories of people who faced seemingly insurmountable challenges. Those who were told they couldn't succeed, that they weren't qualified, that they didn't have the resources, yet they pushed forward because their belief in what was possible far outweighed their belief in what they were told they couldn't do. They didn't let external factors define them. They didn't let past failures determine future success. Instead, they chose to believe that their potential was bigger than any label that had been placed on them. Belief is the lens through which you see the world. If you have a narrow, limited belief, your reality will reflect that narrow vision. But if you expand your belief, if you challenge what you think is possible, you'll see opportunities everywhere. Suddenly, the problems you once saw as roadblocks become stepping stones to growth. You'll begin to see paths where others only see walls. And it's all because you made a conscious decision to stop accepting limits. Belief is more powerful than talent, more powerful than intelligence, more powerful than circumstance. The key to breaking through any limit is believing that it's not permanent, that there is always room for growth, always room for improvement, and always room to push yourself further. It's not about ignoring the reality of your challenges. It's about choosing to believe in the possibility of overcoming them. The moment you take belief out of the equation, the moment you accept limits as truth, you've handed over the power to control your future. But if you take that belief back, if you decide to stretch it and grow it, you begin to see yourself as limitless, as someone capable of extraordinary feats. Every no you hear is just a test of how bad you want it. Rejection is a part of every success story. Every successful person has faced rejection, doubt, criticism, and failure. But it's not the rejection that determines success. It's how you respond to it. When you hear no, when you face criticism, or when things don't go your way, it's easy to internalize that as a sign to stop. But what truly separates successful people from everyone else is their ability to take that rejection and turn it into fuel. It's not about avoiding rejection. It's about embracing it as a sign that you're on the right track, that you're pushing the boundaries, and that you're willing to risk it all in the pursuit of your dreams. Every no is an opportunity to dig deeper, to learn more, to push harder. It's a reflection of how much you really want what you're going after. If you're truly committed to your vision, a no isn't a setback, it's a challenge. It's a reminder that nothing worth having comes easily. If it were easy, everyone would have it. The path to success is paved with no's, and it's those who continue to push through them that reach the finish line. And the more you get rejected, the stronger you become. The more you face criticism, the more resilient you grow. Every rejection is a lesson, and every lesson brings you closer to the success you're destined for. It's important to recognize that a no is not a reflection of your worth. It's not a reflection of your talent or your value. It's simply a part of the process. And when you understand that, when you stop taking rejection personally, you free yourself from the fear of hearing it. You stop letting it control your actions and start using it as a tool to strengthen your resolve. After all, every rejection, every no you hear is just a step toward the yes that will change everything. And when you start seeing rejection for what it truly is, a test of your perseverance and determination, you will keep pushing forward no matter what. The key is never to let those no's stop you, but instead let them propel you toward your ultimate victory. Greatness begins where comfort ends. This is a principle that holds true for every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary. The truth is, comfort zones are the silent killers of potential. When we stay within the confines of what feels safe, we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow, to evolve, to reach new heights. Every dream that's ever been realized, every breakthrough that's ever been made has come from a place of discomfort. It's in those moments when you feel uncertain, when you feel stretched to your limits, when you feel like you're about to break, that's when true growth happens. Too often, people settle. They settle for what's familiar, what's easy, what they know, because stepping out of their comfort zone feels like too much risk, too much change. But what people don't realize is that every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're choosing stagnation. You're choosing mediocrity. It's easy to sit back and let life pass you by, to do just enough to get by, to avoid the discomfort of pushing yourself. But it's in the moments of discomfort, when you feel your heart racing, when you're unsure of the next step, when you're facing your deepest fears, that you're being called to grow. It's in that moment of fear that you're being invited to take your life to the next level. Think of the greatest leaders, innovators, and trailblazers in history. Did they achieve their greatness by playing it safe? No! They stepped into the unknown, embraced the discomfort, and faced their fears head on. They didn't know exactly how things would turn out, but they knew that in order to achieve something extraordinary, they had to take the leap. Comfort may feel good in the moment, but it's the actions you take in the face of discomfort that define who you are and what you're capable of. When you step out of your comfort zone, you not only expand your limits, you rewrite the story of what's possible for your life. Greatness doesn't come to those who wait for the perfect moment or the perfect conditions. It doesn't come to those who remain complacent. It comes to those who are willing to risk, to stretch, and to push beyond the limits of what they know. Every time you face discomfort, every time you step out of what's familiar, you move closer to the person you're meant to be. You make the decision to not let fear or uncertainty hold you back, but instead to use those very feelings as the fuel that drives you forward. If you truly want to achieve greatness, you have to embrace discomfort as a part of the process. Greatness begins the moment you decide to break free from the chains of comfort and step into the unknown. Turn pain into power. Own your story, or it owns you. Pain is an inevitable part of life, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental. We all face hardship. But here's the thing. Pain isn't something you can avoid. It's not something you can escape. The question isn't whether you'll experience pain, it's how you choose to handle it. Pain can either be a catalyst for growth or a prison that keeps you stuck. It's your choice. Every painful experience, every setback, every failure holds the potential to transform you if you choose to use it as a stepping stone. Pain often comes with a message. It's telling you that something needs to change, that there's something you need to learn, that there's something you need to let go of. The key is in how you interpret it. If you allow pain to define you, to dictate your actions, to make you believe that you're not capable of moving forward, then it has control over you. But if you choose to own your story, if you choose to see pain as part of your journey, you take the power back. You turn your wounds into wisdom, your scars into strength, and your setbacks into setups for success. Owning your story means accepting that pain is a part of who you are, but it doesn't have to be the part that defines you. You don't have to be a victim of your circumstances. Instead, you can be the hero of your story, using every challenge as an opportunity to rise higher, to become stronger, to be more resilient. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. It's all about perspective. You can either let your pain break you, or you can let it shape you into the person you were always meant to be. The moment you choose to own your story, to take control of your narrative, you free yourself from the limitations that pain can impose on you. People who own their story don't run from their pain. They face it, they feel it, and then they rise above it. They understand that pain isn't something that needs to be avoided, it's something that needs to be processed, learned from, and used as a tool for growth. When you take ownership of your pain, when you take responsibility for how you react to it, you transform it from something that weakens you into something that empowers you. Pain is no longer something that holds you back. It becomes the fuel that drives you forward, pushing you to reach new levels of strength, determination, and resilience. And that's the power of owning your story. The power of resilience is often underestimated. We live in a world that praises immediate results, instant gratification, and quick fixes. We see the highlight reels of others' success and often fail to recognize the countless moments of struggle, failure, and perseverance that preceded those moments. Resilience isn't about never falling down. It's about getting up every single time you do. It's about having the inner strength to continue when the path gets hard, to push through when the obstacles seem insurmountable, and to never let setbacks define you. True power doesn't come from avoiding failure or adversity. It comes from how you rise when it knocks you down. Every person who has ever accomplished something remarkable has faced moments of doubt, fear, and pain. But what separates the ones who succeed from the ones who don't is their refusal to quit. They don't let rejection stop them. They don't let failure break them. They understand that resilience is not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. Every time they face a setback, they take it as a lesson, a step toward greater strength, and they use it to propel themselves toward their next victory. The power of resilience lies in the willingness to keep moving forward even when the path seems uncertain or the goal seems distant. Resilience is built over time through the small decisions you make each day, through the challenges you face and how you choose to respond to them. It's not a trait that you're born with, it's a muscle that you develop through experience. It requires patience, persistence, and a belief that no matter how tough things get, you are capable of overcoming them. It's about maintaining faith in your abilities, even when the evidence doesn't seem to support it. Resilience means not letting the fear of failure stop you from taking risks, from chasing your dreams, and from continually pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. Each setback, each challenge is an opportunity to grow, to build a stronger foundation, and to prove to yourself that you are more than capable of handling whatever comes your way. The most resilient people are the ones who refuse to be defined by their circumstances. They don't let external factors such as a difficult upbringing, financial struggles, or the opinions of others hold them back. They understand that their ability to rise is not dependent on the world around them, but on the strength within them. The key to resilience is realizing that you are not the sum of your failures or your challenges, but the sum of your responses to them. It's about making the conscious decision to keep going, to keep fighting for what you want, even when it feels like everything is stacked against you. When you cultivate resilience, you create a mindset that is focused on solutions, on growth, and on progress. You stop dwelling on what went wrong and start focusing on how to move forward. Resilience isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging the difficulty of the moment while choosing not to stay stuck in it. It's about finding strength in the struggle and believing that every challenge, no matter how difficult, is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the next step on your journey. To truly reach your full potential, you must become a master of resilience. You must embrace it as a core value in your life and use it as the foundation for every action you take, every decision you make, and every goal you pursue. It's not about avoiding the tough times. It's about using them as the fuel that drives you to greater heights. Your vision and your ability to create the life you want are limitless. The only thing that can truly limit you is the story you tell yourself about what is possible. When you start to believe that your potential is endless, that no circumstance, no person, and no obstacle can hold you back, you unlock the power to create the life of your dreams. So many people fail to reach their full potential because they don't fully understand the power of their own minds. The stories we tell ourselves shape our reality, and if you continue to tell yourself that you are limited by your past, your circumstances, or the doubts of others, you will never break free from those limits. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Your thoughts, your beliefs, and your mindset shape every aspect of your life. The problem is that many people don't realize that they have the power to change their thoughts. They don't realize that they can rewrite their own narrative, challenge their beliefs, and break free from the limiting stories they've been telling themselves for years. When you start to see your life as limitless, you start to take actions that align with that belief. You start making choices that move you closer to your vision, no matter how big it may seem. The key is understanding that you have the ability to create the life you want. It doesn't matter where you come from, what resources you have, or what people have told you is possible. What matters is that you believe in yourself and your ability to overcome whatever challenges come your way. The moment you stop seeing limits as something external and start seeing them as something you've created in your mind, you gain the power to break them. Limits are not real, they are constructs of the mind. And once you realize that your potential has no boundaries. When you begin to embrace the limitless potential within you, you unlock a world of opportunities. You stop making excuses, you stop playing small, and you start taking massive action toward your goals. You start to believe that anything is possible, and that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The world responds to the energy you put out. And when you project a sense of limitless possibility, the world opens up to you in ways you never thought possible. Your potential is not just about what you can do today, but about what you can do tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Your future is limitless, and it's waiting for you to claim it.